Today we have another special guest. Her name is Jakki Jeffs. Jakki is the Executive Director of Alliance for Life Ontario. Thank you for being with us today. It is an honor.
Oh, and for me too. Thank you so very much, Jessa.
I would love for you to share who you are and what you do.
I think I'm public enemy number one, actually, in Ontario at least. But formally, I am Executive Director for Alliance for Life Ontario, which has 50 educational pro-life groups as members, and we speak on their behalf. I put conferences together. I help them in any way I can, resource-wise or with any challenges that they're having. And together we are the pro-life educational family in Ontario. We've been going since 1989, and I've held this position since 1989. So I think they're afraid to get rid of me, really. But I'm like the grandma of the pro-life movement in Ontario right now.
Well, we need you. And
Thank you.
wow, it's such an incredible history that you have. As we've been speaking, I understand that you guys are facing quite a challenge. I'm wondering if you can share what this challenge is.
Certainly. And it isn't a new challenge. The whole of my pro-life work has we've faced in different ways. I work as a volunteer president at the moment for my local Right to Life group, and with provincially, of course, as everybody's servant for Alliance for Life Ontario. And it has never been an easy walk. Many different, I would say, discriminations just based on what we believe, that life is precious and women would rather have help than abortion. And life at the end of life needs to be protected. And with the reproductive technologies, we need to look after human life in all those areas. And we've always, it seems, pressed the button by which the public or those representing the public believe that they can discriminate against us. And I will say a lot of it is based on the fact that they don't want to handle how the other side acts if we are actually treated fairly by city councillors or provincial governments. And so there's always this totally over-the-top response if we are treated like every other organization, and that's given the services that they would receive. So very simply, over the years, there have been many things with my Ontario work. We have placed pro-life television ads for our Ontario family on major television stations. And I have had to write hours and hours and hours of research to back up what we are saying, simple scientific facts, and constantly back at you. Locally, with my local group, we've faced absolute discrimination with our ads that we want on the city buses, and other groups have had those problems as well. Once again, we stand by the truth. And while our organization is non-denominational, most of our folks are Christians or religious folks of one stripe or another. And as a Christian myself, I would never, ever stand by a lie. When you sign these contracts, we write that this is what we know to be true, and yet that is questioned every single time. And just recently, we have had 2 of our ads taken down in our city, basically because we've told the truth about the morning after pill that it seems people do not want out there. The fact that it's 4 times the rate of infection, hemorrhage, and baby body parts left in after.
Right. Yes, yes.
That is, that is part of a 40,000 women study that was done in Finland from government records. It's not, what they love to think are made up facts or disinformation or misinformation, as they love to call it. Um, and again, so you're forced to go and defend that. I don't mind that. It's sort of in my spirit as an Irish English person. Um, but it's annoying. To me, it's just annoying. It's not something we should do. And what really has got my ire up yet again is that we have recently wanted to rent facilities locally, one a theatre, a privately owned, and the other a museum owned by a city, um, and have been refused under their inclusion policies. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I do have, it does make me smile when you think, I read it in many other city policies that the city wants to be neutral. The city has an inclusion policy, and somehow or other that excludes us. And I never, and this neutrality is just absolutely ridiculous. Neutrality would just be offering everything to anybody that asks, barring anybody that is criminal or hate crime. And I always, there's a very beautiful quote years and years ago by Elie Wiesel that I came across, and it said that that neutrality does not help the oppressed, it helps the oppressor. And I thought, it's so true. It really is so true. But again, it's because they're afraid of the response of the other side, and they don't want to be dealing with it. And we wanted to show unthinkable, which you would think it's unthinkable that we would have been denied, but at the present moment we have been. I have to read the policies, and I'm in the middle of doing that research just to see exactly what we can do to argue back. But it shouldn't be that a lot of my work is used up like this. My work is to help women, is to educate the public firstly on all life issues, but also to help our groups help women to get the information that we know they need.
Yes.
We're just looking at a new study that we mandated at the beginning of the year, which tells us that 60% of Canadian women have abortions that are against their own values, coerced or forced by boyfriends, family, or friends. And, what do we have? We have a government that just gives them abortion, nothing else. So it's frustrating not to be able to do that research while I'm having to fight back at these huge injustices that we're facing. We have one of our groups that was 2022, I believe, that they rented public space at a swimming pool, and then had a beautiful, and what that meant was that you pay a fee for a couple of hours and the public can go swim for free. And then you're allowed to have a little table of whatever it is you want to promote that day. And they took beautiful fetal model sets that are scientific size, absolutely scientific representation, and so showed to the children, how tiny they were. And apparently they had an amazing afternoon. It was just beautiful. No disagreements, no anything. But of course, those that disagree with you will always do it quietly. And then you get the result of that. And they've had it. They applied to have that afternoon again, and were now told that no longer can they be part of it. Well, you go on the website for the city, and it's offered to other people. It's offered to businesses. It's offered to others. So why isn't it offered here? Because somebody wants to shut down the pro-life voice. Somebody, as I say, like that beautiful ad from Manitoba. These are just regular things. A mother's pregnant, the child grows. This is it. But because we want to actually kill the child by abortion or advocate the killing of children by abortion, we now no longer want to see that somebody could actually be happy about being pregnant, right?
Right.
So anyway, that's one other piece. We've got 3 actually other cities that are denying our groups proclamations, and also flag raising. And once again, you read the policies, and all they say is the city must remain neutral, and these are inclusion policies. Well, how does an inclusion policy exclude a group? But they do exclude us. And maybe some of your audience might have been aware also of the what happened in a rather large southwestern city not too long ago, and it was beginning to pass to others, where the city, driven by an MPP who was NDP and some I would call them pro-abortion city councillors, tried to bring the city in to specifically stop the message of what abortion does from being, just put into your mailbox. Now, for everybody and everybody else, all Canadians, you're allowed to do that. You can actually do that unless there's something on the box that says no littering or no selling or no anything. You're actually allowed to do that. And they went specifically to this one message, trying to just ban that. And that's happened in a couple of cities. But this one particular city has drawn back now because they realize, and I've presented, and a coalition of our pro-life groups actually came together to present when these things were happening. To just say, you cannot forget that as a city, you are under absolutely mandated to uphold the Charter of Rights. And you may not trample on our Charter of Rights just to silence our message. But that's what they were trying to do. They even moved as far forward as to say that no fetal image should be on any of the streets where people can see them, that would cause an accident with cars. I mean, it is just, we're talking about these beautiful babies growing in the womb. We're not talking about those poor little ones that have been victimized by abortion. And so you see it's sort of spilling over, and you just think, like, what is going on? But I thank God that some of the staff in these cities are saying, we are going to open ourselves up to charter challenges if we begin to shut these messages down specifically. You just cannot do it. And so the other cities that were trying on the same wavelength with that have sort of pulled back, and at the moment at least. But it really is becoming worse and worse and worse. And then what we're facing is, like, one of our quite large organizations has just stopped following through on one of these billboards actually it was doing. And it's disappointed me a little bit. But I mean, I can understand. The boards are worried that they're going to get in thousands and thousands of dollars worth of litigation, and we just can't. We haven't got that money. Guelph was in one a few years ago, and we actually won that.
Wow.
On judicial review, the judges said that the City Council did not take our charter rights into consideration. And what's been happening is that they're using the Advertising Standards Code of Canada as their, the piece that they will go and defer to. Well, and then deferring that decision based on what they believe the code says, which would ban our ads around messages. And what the court said was, you cannot, it's your duty to make that decision. You cannot send that over to somebody else, abdicate your role and then offend a charter of these folks that are here. So there is an awful lot going on.
Yes.
And our groups are just in the middle of it. And one
They're
of
on the front lines.
Yeah, they really are. And you know, it is, as I say, it's such a it really should be a non-issue in a just country, in a
Yes.
democratic country. It should be. And now what I've started to do, especially now because of the unthinkable situation here in my city, is that
Let's
I'm
just
trying.
stop there for a second and just delve into that a little bit more. So basically, we are saying that you have a group of people that would like to gather, pay money for the screening of Unthinkable, which
Yes.
is an inspiring, true story um, of incredible people that have realized what really is going on behind the scenes in abortion clinics.
Mhm.
And it's a very incredible movie. And your organizations are being told, no, you are not allowed. We will not allow this movie to come to our city. Can you tell us why they're saying that? I
As I
think
say,
they give the answer.
the well, we haven't. The first is a theatre just outside our city because we have an area that we look after. So there are smaller places that we're. So the one would be privately owned. So as a private owner, they have the right to yes or no things, but we haven't really had a reason. And you know, for our board and for our members, I think we deserve a reason, a proper reason for that to be explained to us. Um, with the Guelph Museum, it is city owned and operated, and we've been denied space that others have been allowed to rent. And so what we're asking is we've just asked for the two policies to be sent to us, which apparently are the ones that preclude us being able to rent. But you know, derogatory remarks have been made about the film, and research apparently was done. And so what I want to ask is, so what's the process when somebody asks you to rent that space? Um, is are the people or the film or the organization that is renting, are they researched? Or was this specially for us? Was this a special something for us? And over the years, what I've come, it may not be in this case, I don't know yet. But what I've come to know is that often when you have folks who will they walk under the banner of pro-choice, but the only difference between pro-life and pro-choice is the fact we don't agree with abortion. We offer all the other help is the same. You know, we stand together on everything else except abortion. So to me, they are pro the abortion choice, not pro-choice.
Yeah.
And what we found is that often if there is a person who is in a public situation, their private opinion on abortion colors how they treat us. And we've got some examples about that. One not too long ago with some students who were doing on their own campus what they can do, who were sort of removed by a police officer, and he was quite angry with them. And again, you know, this is, and you can understand in some ways, if you are very much that way, not this, that you can get annoyed with people, but we live in a democracy.
Yeah.
And we are allowed, you know, even I think what I find the hardest is about what I find the most difficult is that we're a democracy precisely because we allow the voices we don't like to say what they want, but what we don't like. That's what a democracy's for. The majority opinion is safeguarded all of the time. I think it's not a stretch to say that our Canadian government, and then mostly our other governments, are pro the abortion choice. They are.
Yes. Yeah.
So that stance, especially with our federal government, is like everywhere. It colors everything. It's as though, well, women can't be women unless they can kill their children by abortion. It's such rot, but nevertheless, it's
Right.
what comes out.
I do want to draw attention quickly here to the fact that the liberal government funds all of the pro-choice
Good
groups,
number. Yeah, a
charity
good
groups.
number of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it funds them 100%. Well, we have all kinds of pro-life groups who do not receive a single cent of
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah.
And I feel that's important because wherever there's money, you have all kinds of ways to pump out advertising and marketing and, you
Absolutely,
know,
you do. And
yes,
the other piece is money seems to drive it for me.
yes,
This is my opinion for the other side, because in New Brunswick, when there was only one abortion clinic left, as soon as the government didn't fund it, it went down.
exactly.
We are funded by people that believe in our vision of life, which includes the unborn and every little child that's conceived with, no matter what
Yes,
awful condition they might face, the protection and respect and love and care of those children and their parents. And at the end of life, of course, I said it right the way through. At no time do we ever choose killing over caring for any member.
yes,
So you,
exactly. Well, I back to the money though. I think this is really important to point out to those that are listening that might not understand this. I think this is a time when all of us need to really start looking for the pro-life area, like pro-life organizations in our own backyard, cities, towns, and really we need to start funding them. We need to start donating to them. Same with the pregnancy care centers, right? Because all of the pro-life organizations, they're not receiving like the liberally funded pro-choice organization. So it's harder to get the word out. So we really need a lot of money coming into the pro-life organizations.
we do, and I would encourage anybody that wants to Google. I'll explain this in a minute, but CART. It's the Canadian, Contraceptive and Abortion Research Team, funded by our government to the tunes of millions.
Wow.
And what they are doing is they've come together. Um, uh, if I mean, my heart aches at this. Can you believe midwives want to lead the way in promoting and abortion? I mean, it just absolutely breaks my heart when I think about what,
Yes.
in my mind, midwives are. Um, Physicians, you've got pharmacists, you've got nursing schools. And if you go to this CART, you will see they had a meeting. There was a big meeting in February. There's going to be another one spring in 2025 just to see how well they're doing. And that includes government funded groups like Action Canada, is Planned Parenthood. They changed the Planned Parenthood Federation of Canada changed its name to the Sexual Health and Reproductive something or other. And
That is
now they
important.
now they've got this population piece, which is Action Canada, and getting millions of our tax dollars to promote abortion. So the whole effort is now to insist that trainee pharmacists, trainee nurses, trainee doctors, trainee any medical profession is what would you say, indoctrinated into the fact that abortion is care. Abortion is healthcare. And so they are going to be facing, when you think of when I look at all my young ones, leaving high school and going into university, and well, that's a whole other story today, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And then wanting to go into medical school or nursing schools, and they are going to be weeded out at the beginning, all by our tax dollars, because we want this whole message that is one message, right? Abortion is healthcare. Well, no, it isn't healthcare. Killing one patient at the request of another, paid for by our government is not, that's not healthcare. And
Not only that, it leads to so many other complications, years down the road,
absolutely,
trauma, grief,
absolutely,
mental
absolutely.
health, so it's quite an
But
experience.
even with what we've just found out this year, and again, we're just looking at trying to see if we can. The lead researcher that helped us with our study this year on women who are 60% have unwanted abortions. He is recommending that we try and push for a registry um, regarding abortion access, so that there's a way that we can, you can find out if these women are being forced into this. I mean, I want the child protected from, conception, and then abortion is gone. To me, that's what I want.
Right.
Um, but while we're trying to get there, just at least this is not saying anything except for we know that 60% are forced and coerced by our own statistics. How do we find those out before they go into it? Because the doctor that does your abortion that you meet like 10 seconds before he or she is doing what they're going to do to kill your child, is not interested. I'm sorry if they're out there and they all think they're wonderful. They're not interested in anything except getting that abortion done.
Yes.
And
They're
you know,
getting
yeah, and we haven't got what I would say truly informed consent. I have sat with young women, and one in particular really breaks my heart still. When I gave a presentation just on fetal development at a high school, and at the end of it, and I only just did fetal development. It was one of those days when groups came in from the local community, and she came up to me afterwards crying. And my heart was aching because I'm always so careful about how I say things when I'm presenting. And she said, "Is that an 18-week-old? Is that model real?" And I said, "Well, it's a model of what an 18-week-old little one would look like. Absolutely, for sure." She said, "My doctor told me it wasn't human, it wasn't alive, it wasn't formed. She had an 18-week pregnancy aborted 3 weeks before my presentation." Um, so don't tell me, and I've had many, many more. I know this isn't about that, but many, many more instances that women are not going in this understanding the truth, and now they're being totally indoctrinated. We've got two generations that think they can't be a woman without accessing abortion. They can't get on without accessing abortion. It is such lies. And then with, I know we've talked about certain things today, but we've also got in our province and others, bubble zones around some of these abortion facilities. So we can't be there to offer that last ditch hand of help because they don't want us there. And let's be honest, you talked about money earlier, because every child saved is money not in the abortion industry's pocket.
exactly. So let's talk about that for a moment in case listeners don't understand. But the average cost of an abortion is between $500 and $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And
when Henry Morgenthaler opened his facility, shouldn't call it a clinic, in Ottawa, he wrote a brief, as to why he should get it, and he did, of course. But he said at that point he could do 3 abortions for one.
wow.
One in a hospital. It would be cheaper if he did it, but it was still expensive. And he gave the regular, even then, which is going back to 1990 odd, he was giving 500 to 1,000 as the cost of an abortion then.
Wow. Okay. Yes. So this is just a part of explaining is this cost is being paid for by our government, and who gives money to the government so they can operate? It is you and I and all the others. It is Canadian citizens. So it's our tax dollars that are paying for the abortion appointments. Again, that $500 to $1,000 cost times a minimum of 100,000 a year, because that is the minimum amount we know of babies that are being aborted in Canada right now is 100,000.
Yeah. Now they're the official statistics. It doesn't mean to say they're correct.
Exactly.
In Ontario, which is my remit, and for your listeners to understand too, that it is the provincial health insurance policies that pay. You know, the federal government pays, they're giving all this money to abortion here, there, and everywhere else in the world because they think it's so wonderful. But it is under our provincial insurance. So as a provincial person, you can actually write to the government and say you do not want it covering abortions. Now, you just don't want that money, that abortion covered under our healthcare. We tried it a few years ago, no, more than a few years ago, but I really think it's time to do it again, to actually say, you know, let's use it for healthcare, or at least let's put as much into helping women in crisis pregnancy as you will into helping women kill their babies. And let's be honest, only 1 in 5 actually goes for abortion.
Wow.
1 in 5 women that become pregnant every year might have an abortion. So you've got, you know, a 20%, I guess, of pregnancies, 25% of pregnancies that are ending in abortion. With the issue with funding, I think we have got to get ready for the fact that this government, I believe, will defund crisis pregnancy centers that are Christian or pro-life. I think it will. It will make life, we know it's on its way to do it, but it will make life very, very difficult for us. And so those of us who need the funding, we have never been able to get. Alliance for Life Ontario is not a charity because they do not, our definition of education differs from the government's. We believe education is sort of telling you the truth about things, and having a different idea of abortion, raising your baby, or adoption are not all of equal value choices. So we've never been able to access a charitable number, which means people don't really want to give us money. So we struggle all of the time. Most of our groups have charitable, thank God, currently charitable status. But I think we as Christians and people of goodwill have got to get our heads around the fact that we are going to have to give our money because we believe in what people are doing, not because the government is going to give us a break on our taxes.
Yes, yes, exactly. I wanted to go back to the coercion, manipulation, and control. I just thought it was interesting how you were pointing out that 60% of women getting abortions are under this abuse. And then really they're submitting themselves under a doctor who or the system that is doing the exact same thing to them that their partner is doing to them, right? So it's the same thing: coercion, manipulation, control, abuse. So this woman, these poor women, right? These 60%, it's just wild to me to think that they're getting abuse from their partners and then they're getting abuse from the abortion clinics, essentially. And they yet have to come into the awareness of the manipulation techniques and the abuse and the control and all of that. So I think this is really important to point out right now.
No, I agree. And this whole business, when we went through COVID, of course, you know, the most important thing was making sure women still had abortion. And so we do these video, you know, medical consults. And even now with the abortion pill, you know, they do these video consults. You don't have to go in, you know, and I'm thinking, just you and I don't know that you haven't got somebody out of camera pointing a gun at you to say exactly what you're supposed to say, right? And yet, sorry, you know what I'm trying to say is when they have these women have these discussions, you know, supposedly videoed, and it's absolutely perfectly fine. How on earth are those professionals supposed to know that she is not under some sort of duress? That's the whole point of having her go to a doctor, anybody in any situation, so that discussion, the doctor can understand what's going on. But it seems with abortion, all of that flies out the window. You know, it's as though abortion is some sort of good for women. And you just want to I mean, sorry, almost bite your tongue off sometimes, because it is so nonsensical to me for the medical profession, with all the guidelines and things we have about everything. And I was just looking at this AI makes me smile a little online. If you Google, I was looking for a bill from a lot of years ago to get the text for it, and the AI comes up, and what is its reference for what it's telling me? Well, the National Abortion Federation of Canada. That's the AI reference. So, excuse me, can you imagine what we're going to get coming down the road for
Right.
that? This is their reference. So any other opinion is just off the table, and it's
Yes. Yes. Would you mind taking a moment just to pray, and then we'll kind of wrap up from there?
Heavenly Father. Oh, I do thank you really for this opportunity to just speak honestly and truthfully about the situation here, especially in Ontario, but certainly in this beautiful country of Canada. And I would ask you, God, to just open the hearts of everybody that's listening here, and those that could help in any way, shape, or form, that they would step forward, whether it's to help a pregnancy center, whether it's to help a local Right to Life association, or a pro-life political association, that they could, in their minds, that you would inspire them to decide what it is they want to do, and that you would ask them to put their talent forward, to put their finances forward to help with this, and to not expect anything in exchange, because we know that we are called to do the right thing, not for slaps on back, not for any type of kudos or anything for ourselves, but just because you have called us to do it. You have called us to love our neighbor. And for those in power, in governments at all levels, Father, I just ask you to bring honesty to them, to bring honesty and justice and mercy to them, so that they will see what they've been part of and just change their course. We know it's possible. We know that Jesus calmed the storms of the sea. Well, we're asking him to calm the storms of this country, to help everyone see that he is Lord, and that he calls us to serve each other in every way possible, no matter what that may be. And it could be in the most amazing way of praying for an end to all of this, and praying for the heroes to come and stand forward, and praying for those who are cowards at the moment on our side of the fence, and there are many, that they could just get their courage up and stand for good and stand in the gap for human life at every stage. We ask this in Jesus's name, and please help us to stay focused, to stay little, to stay committed, and to stay loving. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much. I would like to draw attention once more back to the screening of Unthinkable. So we would just like to encourage everybody that would like to see this movie set up through Guelph Alliance for Life. And so let's just quickly strategize ways that people can be encouraged and inspired to go and help get this into theater. So we're really coming to stand beside you, Jakki, and beside your team members. And so we're saying, okay, we should be able to get a film into the theater that simple. I mean, horror movies are allowed into the theaters. Why can't this inspirational story be allowed into the theater? And so,
You know what? Sorry, if I may, I think, Jessa, it's because it shows a picture in the abortion facilities that is not one of loving and kindness and service. It's one where it appears that the workers are forced and caught and threatened and want to leave and can't leave, but need to leave. You wouldn't have had so many come out from that industry if it were a good place to be. we would
Yes.
not. So I just, yeah, I
Yes. So we're
report.
suggesting that people can call the mayor of Guelph, right? And just have conversations, write emails, speaking love in truth,
Lovingly.
and
Mhm.
and so also pray. So those are ways that we're suggesting that we can be mobilized into action to come around and support you, Jakki, and your team. I know I will make my call today, and I hope many others make calls to the Guelph mayor.
Well, bless his heart, he may not know that this is going on yet because we haven't told him. But I guess it's another way to know that we have been denied so far at the Guelph City Museum. So
Yes,
yes.
yes, exactly. Um, and would also just like to encourage our listeners to support their local pro-life organizations. And if you feel led or encouraged to support Jakki in any way, please make sure to be in contact with Jakki because she definitely needs all the support she can get in every way. So, Jakki, can you tell us how the best way to contact you is?
Yeah, certainly. At the moment, I'm working from home, um, but I have an email and I can give you a cell phone that I'd be very, very happy. And if you want to look at what we do, it's allianceforlifeontario.org. That's the website. There is a donation button on there, actually. But direct contact with me is aflo@mgl.ca or 519-820-3399. And if you have any ideas of strategy, I'm happy to listen.
Perfect. I will make sure that we include those in the episode details as well. It has been a real privilege to be able to spend this time, this hour with you, Jakki. And thank you again for all of the work that you're doing for people that don't have their voices, the babies.
Mhm. Yeah. And the mothers whose voice is crippled under fear and confusion and worry.
Yes.
Um,
God bless you. I hope to be with
thank
you
you.
again soon one of these days. It was so wonderful to have this
Thank you.
conversation with you. And just again, God bless you for all that you do.
And you too. And God bless everybody out there and have an absolutely beautiful Christmas time. Okay.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Nearly Christmas. I love it.